How's it going, everyone? Team Canada released their 2014 Olympic roster for Sochi, Russia. So I figured I would give you guys a little kind of video basically talking about the players that made Team Canada, what I think of Team Canada, and the players who didn't make Team Canada that are also very arguably players that should or could have been in contention for the team. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the goaltending, we have Roberto Luongo of the Vancouver Canucks, Carey Price of the Montreal Canadiens, Mike Smith of the Phoenix Coyotes, with notable leave-outs of Corey Crawford of the Chicago Blackhawks, Marc-Andre Fleury of the Pittsburgh Penguins, and Josh Harding of the Minnesota Wild. Goaltending, I feel like they're really good. Bring Luongo back in because he seems to be. We had to turn over to Luongo last year, just for because Martin Brodeur couldn't get it for us. Carey Price, I'm glad to see him in the Olympic roster. A lot of people would rather him not be there, but I'm actually pretty happy that he's there. And Mike Smith also has been playing really good as well. So also happy to see Mike Smith in our Olympic roster spot. On the bubble, Roberto Luongo, I feel like he's the player, goaltender-wise, that, probably should have maybe not been on the roster. And I would have rather had Cam Ward there. But I'm not too concerned about goaltending-wise. Our goaltending is pretty stacked. Carey Price is a guy I really like in net. And I feel like he should do really good for our team also. So let's get into the defensive, where there was kind of a little bit of a controversy going on with some of the players that made the defense. But, again, really solid defense that we have. Okay, so starting off, Jay Bouwmeester for the St. Louis Blues, Drew Doughty of the LA Kings, Dan Hamhuis of the Vancouver Canucks, Duncan Keith of the Chicago Blackhawks, Alex Pietrangelo, St. Louis also, P.K. Subban of the Montreal Canadiens, Marc-Andre Vlasic of the San Jose Sharks, and Shea Weber of the Nashville Predators. With notable leave-outs of Brian Campbell, I believe that's his first name. I'm having a kind of a blank right now, of Florida. Brent Seabrook of the Chicago Blackhawks, Mark Giordano, the Calgary Flames, Mark Stahl of the New York Rangers, Frederick Boschman, and Chris Letang, along with Dion Phaneuf and Dan Boyle. Really surprised that to not see Letang in the defense roster for Canada. I think he would be a great defenseman to have on Team Canada's roster, as well as Brent Seabrook across from Duncan Keith. I think they're going to run Shea Weber and Duncan Keith, is what I believe, or they might run Drew Doughty and Jay Bouwmeester and Duncan Keith. With the Keith and Seabrook, what's the word I'm looking for? Chemistry. I would have loved to see them together. I think it would have been awesome. Shut down, lights out. They play every game in the regular season together. They practice together. That chemistry would be impeccable. But whatever, it's not too big of a deal. With Vlasic and Hamhuis. Hamhuis is a really good defenseman. He's very underrated in my opinion. But again, I would have rather seen Letang or Seabrook, even Phaneuf on the Olympic roster team instead of Hamhuis and Vlasic also. Vlasic's a guy who I probably wouldn't have put on the team. But the Team Canada GMs and I think Steve Yzerman was the final guy, or guy who's GM at Team Canada. Obviously, he knows what he's doing, picking together a very good team. So I'm not really going to get too into that, but that's our defensive core. Possible lineups for that, obviously, are going to probably be, what I'm saying is, Duncan Keith and Jay Bouwmeester, Drew Doughty and Pietrangelo, and P.K. Subban, and Shea Weber, with the Dan Hamhuis and Marc-Andre Vlasic extras in the defensive category. So on the forwards now, Jamie Benn of the Dallas Stars, Patrice Bergeron of the Boston Bruins, Jeff Carter of the LA Kings, Sidney Crosby, Pittsburgh Penguins, Matt Duchene of the Colorado Avalanche, Ryan Getzlaf of the Anaheim Ducks, Chris Kunitz of the Pittsburgh Penguins, Patrick Marleau of the San Jose Sharks, Rick Nash of the New York Rangers, Corey Perry of the Anaheim Ducks, Patrick Sharp of the Chicago Blackhawks, Steven Stamkos of the Tampa Bay Lightning, John Tavares of the New York Islanders, and Jonathan Toews of the Chicago Blackhawks. I don't know about you guys, but just that the names in our forward lineup is ridiculous, and I think it's going to be lights out forward-wise. Notable players that did not make the Team Canada roster as forwards: Taylor Hall of the Edmonton Oilers, Claude Giroux of the Philadelphia Flyers, Martin St. Louis of the Tampa Bay Lightning, Logan Couture and Joe Thornton, both of the San Jose Sharks. Jordan Eberle, Jeff Skinner, Eric Stahl surprisingly didn't make the team. James Neal, Milan Lucic, Tyler Seguin, Jerome McGinley, Mike Richards. Also, there's a bunch more names, but those are the most notable ones. I'm really shocked to not see Giroux on the team. Claude Giroux being one of the best players in the world, in my opinion. He had a slow start to this season, and I would rather have Claude Giroux on the team other than Chris Kunitz. Right-handed shot to play on that first line left wing with Crosby, or even Taylor Hall on the first line left wing with Crosby would be nice to see. Joe Thornton not being on the team is really surprising also, in my opinion. I understand Team Canada is really stacked center-wise with Patrice Bergeron, Jonathan Toews, two of the best centers in the league we have on our team, as well as Sidney Crosby probably going to take that first-line center, and Ryan Getzlaf probably on the third line or so. I understand we have enough centers, but I'm really surprised that they didn't take either Giroux or Thornton, or even Eric Stahl for that matter. Those three names I believe were on the team last time around, or at least Thornton and Stahl I believe were. They kind of cut short. Jeff Carter made the team. Jeff Carter's a really good goal scorer, so I'm pretty happy to see him on the team, which is a good thing. Taylor Hall, Martin St. Louis, definitely players who I would have loved to see on the team this year. Even Jerome McGinley would have been great to have on the team, first line left wing, or penalty kill left wing. He and Crosby, Jerome McGinley is the main reason Crosby got that golden goal for us last time around. I understand he is a little bit older, but I don't know. I just trust in McGinley a lot, and I'm surprised he's not on the team this year. One last time before he retires would have been nice, considering how last time we had both Chris Pronger and Scott Niedermayer on our team when those guys were both relics in their own self. Yeah, I mean, again, our forwards lines full of superstars name. Everybody knows who they're talking about. Chris Kunitz, probably the only guy in the forward lineup that kind of makes you scratch your head a little bit, but I can understand where Yzerman was coming from with Chris Kunitz along with Sidney Crosby. The guys play amazingly together, and splitting up that kind of chemistry would be kind of stupid. And the main question that gets asked quite a bit is, does Chris Kunitz make Crosby better, or does Crosby make Chris Kunitz better? They, kind of both work on their own selves and make each other better on the ice. That's a really big question, and Chris Kunitz, again, one of the guys that I was probably on the bubble for me. I would rather have Hall there, to be honest with you, or Claude Giroux for that matter, even Eric Stahl, like I said before. But again, forward line looking really solid. A couple shorter guys in Duchesne and Crosby actually being the two shortest guys. Biggest guy, Rick Nash, I believe at 6'4", Getzlaf at 6'4". Jeff Carter is actually 6'4" too. That's surprising. Yeah, biggest guy for us is 6'4". Not really anybody too big on Team Canada, and of course the head coach Mike Babcock of the Detroit Red Wings, and Yzerman is the executive director. Assistant coaches of Ken Hitchcock of the St. Louis Blues, Claude Julien of the Boston Bruins, and Lindy Ruff of the Dallas Stars. The management group of Doug Armstrong of the St. Louis Blues, Peter Chiarelli of the Boston Bruins, Ken Holland of the Detroit Red Wings, and Kevin Lowe of the Edmonton Oilers. That's pretty much how Canada's roster is looking out, and I don't know. I think we are in a very good spot. Again, Canada could have a gold medal contending team in the players that didn't make the roster. We definitely didn't have to worry about Yzerman dropping, Duchesne saying, he wasn't good enough, kind of like how the States doesn't have Bobby Ryan playing. A lot of controversy with the U.S. roster, and I guess there was somebody saying that, they didn't put Bobby Ryan on the team because he plays for a Canadian club, so he would be a little bit more easier. But I don't think that's the case. I think you play for the country that you're from, you go all out for your country that you're from, and you try to do your best, and you want to bring gold home for your country. Another team, I don't really think, in all honesty, that the U.S. is going to be too much of a problem. People are saying that Russia's team looks really good, but the problem with Russia is they two forward lines that are really, really, really amazing, but no depth. Their goaltending, I don't think Russia's goaltending is going to be anything this year. Really, if it is, it'll be surprising to me. But the only other team I think that's going to be able to give Canada a run for their money is Sweden. And that kind of works out for me because I'm both Canadian and Sweden, so I might do a Swedish roster review. Not really too big as much on Sweden as I am Canada. You know, born and raised, red and blue, or red and white in my blood veins. Sorry, not red and blue. Red and white in my veins, and the place where I'm from. So that is the Team Canada roster. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, if other players should have made the team or not, and which place you think Canada is going to finish in the Sochi Olympic Tournament. I'll talk to you guys next time, and again, thank you for watching.